So Aloys Jr. Now, some of you might be wondering why I'm even talking about him, because I want to say he hasn't really caught on with the public yet, the British public, as far as an upcoming fighter. I mean, he's obviously got his fans, but in terms of the majority of even hardcore fans, nobody really seems to be paying Aloys Jr. that much attention. But the reason that I am is because he's kind of a weird character. If you've seen interviews with him, and I've talked about this before, he talks about himself in extremely grandiose fashion. You know, the self-aggrandizement is off the scale with Aloys Jr. And you get that with a lot of fighters coming through, right? But with Aloys Jr., it goes beyond his boxing. This is a guy who's from Penge in South London, and he referred to Penge as the jungle. He was talking about Penge as if it was the Bronx in the 1980s or something. Like, Penge is not one of the roughest parts of South London at all. It never has been. But he was talking about Penge like he survived Nam or something. It's weird. And his reaction, right? This is his BoxRec page here. His reaction after one of his more recent wins. He fought some obscure fighter for some random sanctioning body trinket. And it was a pretty dull fight. It went the distance. And Aloys Jr. clearly won the fight. You know, it wasn't particularly close at all. And when the scorecards were read out and Aloys Jr. got the victory, he fell to his knees crying, as if he'd just been in the Thriller in Manila or something, as if it had been a life and death struggle. It was a relatively comfortable bout. And he hadn't just become undisputed champion. So I just find his behavior really weird, you know? It's like he exaggerates everything in his head to the power of a million. Kind of like Don Charles, actually. I mean, he's not quite as dislikable as Don Charles. But in terms of the way he exaggerates things in his head in a neurotic kind of way, Don Charles does that a lot. I want to say Aloys Jr. does it a lot as well. Maybe it's a Nigerian thing. I don't know. Because not like all Nigerians are like that, but certainly Don Charles is. And Aloys Jr. And I've met Nigerians over the years in real life who are kind of like that. You know, they have this weird kind of way of exaggerating everything to a ridiculous extent in their mind. And that's what Aloys Jr. does regarding his own life. Everything is like massively exaggerated. And his boxing career. And like I say, if you haven't seen that fight, I think it was his previous fight, if not the one. No, I think it was the fight before last. Like I say, you go watch that fight. He was winning comfortably. It was a pretty dull affair. It was for some random trinket. And, you know, you expected him to get the decision. It wasn't the Thriller Manila or anything close. There was no drama in the fight, really. Yet when the scorecards were read out and he got the win, he fell to his knees crying. I was like, why are you being so extra? You know what I mean? It's, like I say, you think he just won undisputed or something. Weird. So anyway, his next opponent is this guy here, David Jamieson. This will be on the 24th of this month. I guess this is on the Josh Taylor undercard, since it's the SSE Hydro in Glasgow. David Jamieson has been stopped by Chev Clark and also by Mikhail Lawal. So if Aloys Jr. is going places, certainly if he's going to the places that he says he's going to, then he should be dispatching of David Jamieson without too much trouble. This is a guy who's been stopped, as I say, a couple of times in the past, 33 years of age. He can punch a little bit, David Jamieson. So, you know, Aloys Jr. will want to be a little careful. Doesn't want to get too reckless. And just a bit of backstory, by the way, on Aloys Jr. In fact, did I show you guys this? I forgot to even talk about this. So in this interview, Aloys Jr. says he's not that far away from the likes of Jai Opetaia. And he actually was kind of dismissive of the Chev Clarks and Viddal Rileys of the world. It was Dev Sani that was interviewing him. Devsani said that Clark and Riley are above him currently. And Aloys Jr. said, allegedly. I'm like, yo, okay. I mean, I can appreciate the confidence, but I would pick Viddal Riley over Aloys Jr. 10 times out of 10. I picked Viddal Riley over Chev Clark. I pick him over Aloys Jr. all day long and twice on Sunday. But, you know, Aloys Jr. is not supposed to listen to the naysayers. Of course, he needs to listen to his own inner self, God, whoever he gets his confidence from, and go from there. But my take on it is, yeah, he's never going to beat somebody like a Viddal Riley anytime soon. And as for Jai Opetaia, yeah, I think he's a million miles off that level. I'm sure he disagrees. I know he disagrees based upon what he said, or he claims to disagree based upon what he said in this interview. Anyway, the point I started to make but didn't finish is a little bit of backstory about Aloys Jr. So he actually is in the same gym as Moses Itauma, in the Ben Davison gym. And he fought Itauma in the amateurs. He's actually 2 years older than Moses Itauma. Itauma beat him. And it was interesting, in the Dev Sani interview, Dev kind of hinted that maybe he and Moses could fight one day. And Aloys Jr. kind of sheepishly said, well, maybe one day. Obviously, Aloys Jr. is a cruiserweight and Moses Itauma is a heavyweight. But I have to imagine that Moses, if they're sparring now, is lighting him up like a Christmas tree. Yeah, maybe I'm wrong, but I have to imagine that's the case. When they fought, as I say, Itauma was 14, Aloys was 16. And Aloys said that he was surprised at how, first of all, tall Itauma was for a 14-year-old. And yeah, he must have been surprised about how good Itauma was. Because when you're that age, 2 years makes a big difference. Yeah? If you're 16 and there's a kid who's 14 and you're a big guy for 16, 9 times out of 10, you're mashing him up. Do you know what I mean? Whereas this young kid, Itauma's coming in 14 years old, and yeah, he won the fight. So anyway, I look forward, I guess, to Aloys Jr.'s fight here against David Jameson. You know, like I say, Aloys is kind of an odd character to me, so I'm somewhat intrigued. Let's just put it that way. Maybe even kind of entertained by his unusual personality and behavior, even though I shake my head at times at the stuff he says. So yeah, that's Aloys Jr.